Oh, now we're in like Brady Bunch looking mode here. Okay. I'm going to start with reading through the right to know checklist. Okay. So, as chair of the Hopkinton Select Board, due to the COVID-19/coronavirus crisis and in accordance with Governor Sununu's Emergency Order Number 12, pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04, this board is authorized to meet electronically. Note there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to the meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. However, in accordance with the emergency order, this is to confirm that we are doing the following. Okay, so we're providing public access to the meeting by telephone with additional access possibilities by video or other electronic means. We're using the Zoom platform for this meeting. All members of the board have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during this meeting through Zoom, and the public has access to contemporaneously listen and, if necessary, participate through dialing the following phone number, 646-558-8656, meeting ID 377-225-532, or we provided a link for people to click. And next, we're providing public notice of the necessary information for accessing the meeting. We previously gave notice to the public of how to access the meeting using Zoom, and instructions are provided on the Town of Hopkinton's website and the Town of Hopkinton's Facebook page. We are providing a mechanism for the public to alert the public body during the meeting if there are problems with access. If anybody has a problem, please call 603-746-8242. or email at townadmin@hopkinton-newhampshire.gov. Adjourning the meeting. If the public is unable to access the meeting, we will adjourn the meeting and have it rescheduled. All votes taken during this meeting will be done by roll call. Okay, so let's see. We're going to start the meeting by taking roll call attendance. When each member states their presence, please state whether there's anyone in the room with you during the meeting, which is required under the right to know law. Also, really quickly before we do that, the meeting's being recorded, available to watch at a later time, and the select board's unmuted. All others are muted. If you have a question during the meeting, you can use the chat feature to let the host know you have a question. And during the public forum, the line will be unmuted to allow participants to speak. Please be respectful of each other as we try to manage this. Okay, so we can do roll call attendance. I will start. Sabrina Dunlap, and I am alone in my office.
Ken Traum, I am also alone.
Jeff Donahoe, also alone.
Anna and Stephen, you look muted.
Okay, I am no longer muted, thank you. I think Neil has control of that, or somebody on the other end has control of that. So I'm Anna Wells, and I am alone. Stephen's still
Stephen,
muted.
you're muted.
There we go.
Stephen Whitley, I'm alone. Thank you, Neil.
The problem becomes if you mute yourself, you can't unmute it unless.
Correct.
Okay.
So I think
Good
if
to know.
everyone else stays muted, I'll leave it so you can mute and unmute yourself.
Thank you.
Unless we have to change that.
Okay. All right, so everybody's good with our technology at the moment. So we are starting with points of pride.
Can we do the pledge?
Points of pride.
I know we don't all have a flag, but shall we do the Pledge of Allegiance?
I had done that last week simply because Neil and I were in the office with the flag.
All right.
Have an objection.
No, that's fine.
Do you want me to go ahead with points of pride?
Sure.
Okay. we had a department head meeting today, and I just want to highlight how hard really everyone in every department is working. It's such a transition and things are so different. People are adapting quickly, and some technology has worked well, some hasn't worked well. And people have really been staying calm and working through and getting things so that they can work and be safe and provide good service while being safe. I also want to point out, we put out for the food pantry a call for eggs. And like happens very often, Dimitri stepped right up and offered, I think it was 25 dozen eggs. And he often steps up and offers. They've been sending soup out to seniors on Wednesdays, and they just are always there to help the town in so many different ways. So I would like to just point that out and encourage anyone who they are doing takeout. So please support them as much as you can.
I guess I'd just like to thank Neil, as usual, for, driving this whole process. Without him, I don't know where we would be.
Yeah, I second that. Thank
Agreed.
you, Neil.
Agreed.
Anything else for points of pride? Okay. Now we have administrative. Okay, approval of the consent agenda.
I'll move that we approve the consent agenda, and just note that we are approving the hiring of a replacement for Garrett Hoy, who just retired in there.
The other part of that should be approving and authorizing whoever's going to sign everything. I think one person's going to do it.
I'll accept that as a friendly addition to the motion.
Second.
Second.
All right, so we have to do a roll call.
Who is that one person?
Ken.
If you want, I'll be the one who'll stop by town hall to sign.
Perfect.
Thanks, Ken. Okay, so roll call in terms of approving. Sabrina Dunlap, yes.
Sorry.
Stephen Whitley, yes.
Ken Traum, yes.
Ken,
Jeff
yes.
Donahoe,
Jeff,
yes.
Anna
And
Wells,
Anna.
yes.
All right, excellent.
Apologies that it seems my connection's not that great, so people have been freezing on and off, and so if I delay on a vote, my apologies.
Okay, so public meeting minutes from last Monday, March 23rd, 2020. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
so Stephen seconded. All right. Roll call vote. Sabrina Dunlap, yes.
Stephen Whitley, yes.
Ken Traum, yes.
Jeff Donahoe, yes.
Anna, where did you go?
Frozen out again.
Anna.
I vote yes.
Okay. All right.
Not awkward at all. It's fine.
Okay. So now we are moving on to the COVID-19 response update. Update and changes since the last meeting. Neil.
Sure. I have a few items. Advisory signs have been put up at the playground, as discussed last time. Town hall, we're functioning basically the same. Robin and Marilyn and Karen are working from home, as you can see in Robin's square. And Deb was in today to do accounts payable and payroll, and will be in occasionally and definitely on Mondays to do that. There'll be a memo going out tomorrow to all the department heads on the Family First Coronavirus Act, which takes effect April 1st. It largely, for anyone affected or there's a lot to it, and I'll send out that memo too. But it adds 2 weeks of sick pay to staff members who are quarantining on a doctor's advice or actually have the disease. We do have some staff out on doctor's orders to avoid catching the virus, meaning they have a medical issue that makes them more susceptible or are in that risk category. We talked last week about doing a video. Stephen was right. We really didn't have time to get to that, but it is still on the list and we'll work on that. Some things based that I think the board should probably discuss tonight related to this is what you had mentioned last time, the length of time the town hall is closed. Currently, April 3rd is the date the board's voted. Talk about the use of green bags. It's hard for people to buy those right now. So I'm going to suggest that there be that ability to waive that during this time. And the use of the skateboard park, people are congregating there, but really the skateboard park as well as other areas of town, like even the trails, the police have had calls and issues on. So if the board could kind of make some decisions on that, whether, I'm not sure what the best decision is, but those are the things I have for that.
Neil, what were the issues with, I saw chatter about the skateboard park, but what about trails? Was it like overuse or overcrowding or?
Yeah, it seems like people are congregating there also in different places. So there are several places on town property where people are congregating. And I don't know if the key would be better education, although it's pretty out there that you shouldn't be congregating, but that could be one thing because people, during the department head meeting, we go back and forth because people do need to be out getting exercise and doing those things. So I don't know what the solution is, but I do know the police are getting lots of calls on that. So whatever is decided, then they'll know how to respond to that.
Mhm.
What trails were we talking about, Neil?
I took it the Greenway and the town trails that people would see people gathered and report to the police that there were people gathered together. So.
What kind of signage did we put up at the park by the library?
We put up a warning sign that it is not cleaned and that it could be used. It wasn't closed, but used at own risk. The other option there and other places is somebody had suggested also the possibility of yellow taping it off. If you decide to close it, we probably would do that to make it more clear.
Mhm.
Either there and the skateboard park, that's an option also.
Do I understand that the schools are closing their playgrounds? I think that's it tomorrow.
Have not seen that.
I had contacted Jim O'Brien to ask what the school was doing about Harold Martin. He indicated they were closing. I was going to suggest maybe for park by the library, close it off, yellow tape. And I don't know how much of a problem the skateboard park is, but maybe do the same there.
Yeah. How do others feel about that? I was going to say playground. I did get another call from someone saying they're seeing kids there. And so I don't know if the sign was up or if people just didn't see the sign, knew the sign wasn't up yet. But I would be inclined to say we should close the playground and the skate park. And then I don't know about other open spaces the town owns, if there's too many people congregating, like if we want to come up with a, I don't know, some sort of advisory around that. But what do others think about actually closing the playground and the skate park?
I agree with that. And I would, just to piggyback on what you said, Brittany, some signage at the trails that the town owns, directing people to distance themselves if they're going to be using those properties.
Mm-hmm.
Because my memory is that most of them are wide enough that you can use them responsibly if you just, step to the side and let people pass by. I could be wrong, but by and large, I think most of them, there's room to do that.
Yeah, I mean, there's woods, just walk 6 feet into the woods.
Yeah, right.
So maybe, do we need a, we don't need a motion, right, Neil? Like, we can just say we think that as a board, we should close the playground and the skate park.
Maybe a motion on that to close
Okay.
it until further notice, and then we'll sign the trailheads.
And I was gonna say, if we do an update on like the town website, maybe there we could also put something saying like, and if you're using trails or other, public space in town, keep in mind you should be far apart from people and not like congregating in groups. So does someone want to make a motion on, Anna, you're muted. Can you unmute yourself, or are you good? You can't, do you want to be unmuted? Okay.
Thank you. I tried to rejoin the meeting from my computer, hoping that the connection's better. So thank you for that.
Did you hear what we just said about
Yes.
the park? Okay.
Yes.
I'll make a motion that we close off the playground at back of the library and the skateboard for use, and put warning signage up for the trails.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, do a roll call vote. Sabrina Dunlap, yes. Ken,
Yes,
Stephen,
Stephen, yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
and Anna.
Anna Wells, yes.
All right. So on the green bags issue, do we need to do a motion there? I assume yes.
I would think
And
so.
do people, yeah, I mean, I agree. I think we should waive it right now. What do other people think?
I agree.
If they're having a hard time getting them, certainly it makes sense to waive it temporarily.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Generally, one of the safe places to always have them is here at the town hall, and with us closed, there isn't that backup, so.
Yeah.
I would agree with waiving it, but make it very clear that this is a temporary.
That's
Well,
fine.
we can tie it to when the town hall opens again, perhaps, which I think we're going to discuss here in a minute, but
Mm-hmm.
That's a good budget.
So does someone want to make a motion that we temporarily waive the use of, or the requirement of using green bags and tie it to when town hall reopens?
So moved.
Second,
Any discussion? All right, roll call vote. Sabrina Dunlap, yes. Ken,
yes,
Stephen,
Yes.
Jeff,
yes.
Anna, you don't look like you're there, but Anna, are you there? I think we might have lost
I'm
Anna.
here.
Okay,
I'm here.
I'll take
Yes.
that's a yes, Anna.
Oh, she's gone.
All right, well, well, we have four roll call yeses. Okay, and then length of time, town hall is closed. So right now it's April 3rd. The state is in a stay-at-home order until May
Fourth.
4th. Yeah. In schools, same thing. Do we want to say May 4th and we can reassess as needed, or?
That makes sense to me. I mean, it would seem to be at odds with the governor's message and the schools if we're open before other things are.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that.
Neil, is there anything we need to take into account if we extend the town hall closure until to line up with everything else?
No, that makes perfect sense. And I think we've kind of known we probably wouldn't be opening after Friday. So
Okay.
I think we're ready to do that.
Okay.
Anna's back, but looks muted, FYI. I lost her again, but I don't, she does look muted. Okay, so does someone want to make a motion that we, that we close town hall to align with the rest of the state until May 4th, and we will revisit as needed?
So moved.
Second.
All right, Sabrina Dunlap, yes.
Second.
Ken Trom,
Yes.
Stephen Whitley,
Yes.
Jeff Donahoe,
Yes.
Anna Wells.
I think she's frozen. I
Anna's
am
muted. Okay.
muting her, but she's not responding.
Can I get a rocking chair like Robin?
No,
That does look really nice.
it is.
Anything else to discuss on the COVID-19 response update? We covered green bags, town hall, public places. Neil, on the park and skate park, I mean, is there anything else? I assume you can touch base with Chief Pecora and let him know that we're like officially closing them.
Yes, I'll let staff know, and I think we will use yellow tape around just to make it really obvious.
Mhm.
And department heads know this was a discussion for tonight, so I'll give them an update in the morning.
Okay, great. So if there's nothing else on COVID-19, we have 6 o'clock appointment with Chief Yale. So in 6 minutes, should we, Neil, on the health insurance update, is that something we can do in
It
a few minutes,
is.
or?
It's
Okay.
just an update that we had received a guaranteed maximum rate increase of 6.4%. And actually it's going to be 2.3%. So that's actually good news
That's good.
that the actual rate came in quite a lot below the guaranteed maximum rate. So that is
Oh,
good.
good.
I think that's about a $10,000 to $15,000 savings. So we'll look at those numbers and compare them again now that we're a quarter through the year. And there were some other modifications in some of the other insurances, and we'll just adjust those, and I'll let you know what the exact savings will be from that.
Okay, great. I know there's probably one item 10 under new business, which will probably take longer than 4 minutes. So, Neil, any other town administrator updates we can squeeze in before 6?
Actually, I think going through the COVID-19 stuff is pretty much it. I'm thinking we're actually going to start getting some projects done and things as things are quieting down. I would, and as far as work, and it does seem like there aren't as many people coming in and there aren't building permits as sort of the whole state slows down. I think we'll see that happen here too.
Mm-hmm. So is Chief Yale planning on videoing and?
He is, yes.
Okay. All right.
Junior, I
So-
can say if you want, I can start for a couple of minutes and then stop. when Jeff-
Yeah, 3 minutes.
Sure.
Perfect.
Maybe that's enough. What I wanted to do is, when we created the budget back, it seems like years ago now, it was a different world than we have now in terms of the economic impact that our residents are feeling. And what I wanted to touch base with the board on is, do we want to look at if it makes sense to reduce the amount that we're requesting of a budget increase of 7.87%? And that's just a threshold question. And if the answer is yes, then we certainly have a number of weeks to look into how we could accomplish that, or to what extent we want to do that. So I just wanted to get a feel from the board if that's something that you think is worth pursuing.
Well, I started because I wasn't on the board at the time. So I wasn't involved in developing it. I've seen the increases. I don't know the history behind all of them. I think if there's a way to look at it and offer some relief, that might make sense. But I don't know the urgency of the particular items that we're increasing. So I'm at a bit of a disadvantage for the moment.
Sure, I can appreciate that, Joe. There may be small fixes like things like, what did the actual year-end fund balance come out versus what we estimated? Can we apply more money from that to reduce the tax impact? Is there a way to potentially furlough any town employees such that they would actually collect more through unemployment with the new $600 that the feds are kicking in, and help our budget at the same time? Or, do we want to reduce the amount we're putting into reserves, which just kicks the bucket down the road a little on that? Those are just some general thoughts. I wasn't looking to go line item for line item like we did previously.
I think it's a conversation worth having. I guess, wouldn't take much to figure how much we had previously put into the reserve funds, just to see how significant it would be if we backed that out. And then on the unemployment benefits for our employees, I don't know how, Neil, how easy or difficult it would be to calculate whether with what the feds are going to kick in, if they are made whole, because I think we'd want to know that before we obviously took any action.
Oh, yeah, I don't want to harm any of our employees.
No, and I know you didn't, Ken. I know. Yeah, I know you didn't.
Everybody is working presently, so with maybe the exception of a few part-time people at the library. So I'm not sure who you want to furlough.
Yeah, and that's, that would be a discussion, because you know better than I do.
So Neil, without
Anna?
naming any names, I mean, can you think of any other than part-time employees?
No, everybody's still carrying out roles that are important.
Okay.
Okay, so then, maybe it's primarily looking at the surplus, any savings in, what Neil just mentioned about, health insurance updates. And then do we want to defer some amounts that we're putting into reserves? And like I said, it's nothing we have to decide now. Just, is it something we want to look at?
Yeah. Anna still looks muted, FYI. I see her back. I do think it's worth talking about this more, Ken. But let's pause. I see Chief Yale is with us.
Okay.
For a 6 o'clock appointment regarding process to buy a new fire truck. Hello, Chief Yale. Can you hear us and see us?
Do we have to unmute? I don't know if we have to unmute him directly or,
Yeah, I'm not seeing his audio yet.
yeah, I don't see it either.
Hi, Chief, can you hear us?
He's nodding.
But we can't hear him.
He has to join with his audio on his phone.
I don't think he said anything
Oh.
yet. There we go.
Oh, there it goes.
He's muted though.
I'm working on that part. Now I can. Chief, can you hear us now?
I can, thank you.
Yay.
It's a
Welcome
learning
to our
curve.
virtual meeting. All right. The floor is yours.
Oh, okay. As the agenda says, I had been looking at a couple of demo trucks just to see what was out there, and with the ambulance taking a year and a half to find a chassis so that we could actually build one on it. With rescue pumpers, which is something that we're actually looking at, that would be a similar proximity to what we are replacing with. I found a demo that really meets our needs. It was built a couple of price increases prior to where we're at now. I've looked at a couple other demos that are in the same boat, and they were all significantly more expensive. So what I was looking at with all the new tariffs that have come into play, since we actually planned on buying this pumper years ago, I had put it up $25,000 with a CIP committee, and the idea of buying a fire truck was to buy fire truck and equipment, because all the equipment on this truck is a minimum of, or not all of it, but the majority of the bigger pieces of equipment are 25 years old. When I say big pieces of equipment, all the hose, vent fans, vent saws, chainsaws, nozzles, etc. You're all looking at stuff that's at the end of its life stage. So when we buy a truck, and we look like we did with the 2012 engine one, we actually look to replace all that equipment at the same time. There's about $30,000 worth of radios that go involved with this truck, when you're talking the 6 portables and the mobile radio. So back to the demo that I found, it's an emergency one. It's a very reputable name. They're made in Ocala, Florida. They've been around for numerous years. There's some of our neighbors have some. Webster has 2 of them. Manchester's entire fleet is emergency ones. Boston's majority of their fleet is emergency ones. So they're a company that's going to be around for years. They've been around for years. They'll be around for years to come. They've offered a fair trade on the engine to get rid of that. And I have a number. They've been willing to keep the demo that they have, or it should be here this week actually. It's done now, but they're willing to keep it and put our name on it if I sign a letter of intent. My purpose for tonight would be where the town meeting had been put off. I would like to be able to sign a letter of intent to purchase this piece of apparatus after town meeting. And the price of the truck with the trade-in is $525, $316. And that does not include the equipment, which I've actually put out to a couple of different vendors to have it priced out.
If I may, Chief, this is Ken. Should I be comparing the 525 price with the 625 that we had in the, we're thinking that it would cost in the reserves account?
Yep, you should. And the other thing about the 525 is that doesn't include any of the equipment, the $30,000 in radios. I'm predicting the equipment will be somewhere, 50,000, between 50 and 60,000. And I was hoping to have prices for tonight, but I just don't have them. This has all really come together very, fairly rapidly. So, this piece of equipment became available. I did discuss it with Neil. When they put the town meeting off for a couple of weeks, they said that they would hold the truck with no real, commitment. But now that it's off until sometime the middle of May, they would like to have some sort of a written commitment so they don't try to sell it somewhere else.
So it's at least, it looks to me like a $40,000 savings over ordering a new truck. And we don't know what the price of new trucks would be.
Right. They were telling me that they think if we spec'd out this exact truck today, they'd probably be looking at somewhere around 600,000 with no equipment, no radios. And that's truly due to the tariffs. Usually like fire trucks and ambulances and everything, we're dealing with around a 5% increase every year, give or take a percent or so. And last year they had 3 of them just due to the tariffs that came through. They're all custom built as far as all the steel. Most of the components, just as anything else, are outsourced and built somewhere else. That's not, this is a custom truck, but when you're talking about buying axles, buying engines, buying transmissions, most of those aren't built in the United States. Even those they are United States companies that have their names, Allison Transmissions, Cummins Motors. I'm not sure what this has for axles, whether it has, there's a couple different manufacturers that we're familiar with, Fuller and Eaton.
Chief, how long would it take, assuming town meeting went through and approved everything, how long would it take to get the truck up to us?
As long as it would be here, like I said, it should be in Maine this week where the dealers, their main hub is in Massachusetts in North Attleboro, and they have another dealer we're in their area, and they're in right outside of Brunswick, Maine. So it would be lettered up here. Of course, they're not going to send it with Hopkinton letters on it where, we just have a commitment pending town meeting. So.
And what shape is it in? I mean, you said it was a demo.
It's brand new. It's just coming off the assembly line.
Okay. So demo, I mean, it's just like a floor model?
Well, demo means that they built it to a specification that Greenwood Fire Apparatus, who does this all the time, they actually, they built it to their own specifications. And I went up to Brunswick a couple of weeks ago and actually looked at a very close proximity to this that they delivered to the Brunswick Fire Department. And, there was a couple of differences just because of height restrictions. They have the oldest actual fire station in the state of Maine, so they had to do a couple of things to make it lower. But as far as the compartmentation and the actual truck, it was identical. Besides this, the one that I looked at was yellow, and this one's red. So.
Neil, can you remind us, was there anything on the warrant at town meeting about this?
Yes, we don't have the money in capital reserve unless it's approved at town meeting. So
Okay.
yes, we can't do a final commitment certainly without town meeting approval.
And was the warrant article, was it to raise and appropriate all of it from taxation?
It's the money going into the capital reserve.
275, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
Yeah, there was, at the end of last year, 385,000 in the capital reserve for the fire department. We were requesting another 275,000 to go into it, giving us 660. And we were estimating then 625 for this truck plus some other smaller items.
Thank you.
Yeah, if town meeting is delayed, not 2 months, but 4 or 6 months, are they still willing to hold it?
I didn't really go into it with them. I mean, we had put it back to May 16th, and that's where I left it with them. But
I think it's unlikely we have town meeting by May 16th.
you do?
It's not my call, but just reading and seeing how things are progressing nationally in the state, I think that's optimistic.
Yeah.
Again, that's not
So-
my call. That's up to Bruce. But
Sure. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I think the contract says 75 days.
I mean, others can disagree with me, and that would be welcome, but it just feels like May 16th is, I don't know. That just feels unlikely right now.
I agree. I don't think we should have a town meeting in May. It's nice to have it.
Was that a question, Ken? Because I think you were.
Now, my question, Chief, is how long do you have to get back to them? Could you say, well, the select board doesn't think 75 days is enough. We want 120 or something. Will we agree to this?
I can ask them tomorrow. I'm obviously the dealer is actually looking for my call tomorrow. So yeah, it says approximately 75 days after the receipt. So yeah, I can see if we can. I mean, I think we're all in the same likelihood. If we don't have a town meeting, it's probably not going to happen anywhere else. I mean,
And Chief, there's no financial commitment to the letter of intent?
there's not. It would be dependent on whether we appropriated the rest of the funds at town meeting.
If they push back about extending it, I mean, we have 385 in the fund currently. So I don't know if that is something that, if we really wanted to reserve it, if that's a possibility or not, but.
I actually did think of that. The one problem with that is if we didn't get the other part of the money, that would be, then, I mean, I guess it would have to, I would probably want a different contract at that point that would,
Right.
have them giving the money back. But if
Or we
that's
could
something
put it in-
the board would be willing to do, I could present that to them.
Or we could put it in escrow or something, so it's not, lost money, but at least with good faith telling them that we're interested, but we wouldn't
Yeah.
lose it then.
Yeah.
Can you Can you tell me again, the 75 days is if you sign the letter of intent, then they want to have like the sale done within 75 days? Is that?
Well, the letter of intent, it basically tells them that we're serious and we're not kicking the tires, you know. They would like to sell us the truck. Obviously, they'd like to have us as a customer. I think if we ended up, I'd definitely broach that with them as tomorrow, as far as if our town meeting got suspended another, say 60 days or whatever, would that be something that they would be willing to work with us? And, you know, maybe the option of giving them a down payment to hold the truck. I don't know if they're going to have to pay interests or anything on the truck, you know, because whether they own it, I'm not sure their financial commitment with the truck. They ordered it to their specifications for them. So whether they paid for it or they're actually buying it on credit until they sell it. I know they do a lot of promotions like that with dealers to get things like this out in the field. Because if I order a truck today, minimum, if they actually had all the components to build it, you're looking at a year. If we signed a letter.
I'm thinking like, Stephen, you might be right. I'm trying to be optimistic here, but I would hope that like at the most we'd be looking at maybe early to mid-June, like possibly a 60 days test mid-May. But I mean, maybe I don't want to like lose the opportunity. So maybe it makes sense to sign with like, you know, in the context that we don't control and don't know when town meeting actually will be. It could be May 16th, that's the date, 14th, mid-May. But if the town moderator moves it, we actually have no control over that. So I don't know, you know, if they'll be all right with that, but that might be our best option at the moment.
Okay, so
75 days is June 15th. So if we could get to go to 90, the end of June, I think certainly we all have high hopes that the town meeting will occur by June 30th. If it doesn't, it's going to go to the fall probably. Having it in the summer is not going to work.
Jeff, are you saying we should extend it for what, 30 more days? So 105-day letter of
I
intent?
mean, I'd ask if they'd be willing to do that. Under those conditions, I'd certainly be willing to, you know, authorize the chief to sign the letter of intent. As he said, there's no financial penalty if we sign it.
Right.
Just that if we don't close in time, they can pull the rug out from under us. So if we can extend that to, you know, 90 or 110 days or 120 days, that's in our favor.
Yeah.
You know, we're not trying to hold the guys up. It's an unusual time. We're not the only people who postpone town meeting.
Right.
And if we, you know, tell Jeff that the select board would approve this sale as long as town meeting approves it. They would know that we're backing it.
Mm-hmm.
Chief, what do you need more from us?
no, I just, like I said, I think these are all very good and valid points. I just, I was really looking for the okay to sign it, but I really kind of anticipated that we would be having town meeting by mid-May, but
Anything's possible.
yeah.
If you can get, like Jeff was saying, extra time on the letter of intent, I think that would be probably best.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, like, if they say no, we kind of have nothing to lose in terms of signing a letter of intent anyway, because then if town meeting does happen and it's approved, because otherwise we lose, right? I mean, if we don't sign it, And then town meeting does happen on time, we just lost out on it. So it seems like if they'll extend it, that would be ideal. But if they won't, I mean, I still think it makes sense to hedge our bets and sign it. I don't know how others feel.
Yeah, the letter does actually pend on town meeting, so I did give them the date in the middle of May, and that may be why they put the 75 days in there, but yeah, I'll definitely ask them, maybe they can put it off till the end of June, you know, tentatively, hopefully that the town meeting does happen in May, but if we had to put it off. And Sabrina, I think you're right. Even if they say, well, we can't wait for you anymore, we haven't really lost anything, because to be honest with you, I wouldn't, if I had to buy a custom truck, I wouldn't be, you know, that I had to spec out and do that. I really probably wouldn't do that until I had the money anyways. I entertained a couple of course, how this all started was a couple of salesmen came to visit after they, you know, they searched the town warrants and saw that we had a fire truck on our town warrant for capital reserves. So they started making calls and stopping by. Yes.
So do we need to do more to authorize Jeff to sign the letter of intent?
I think a vote would be good.
And to be clear, I mean, my perspective is that we should be asking for more time first on the letter of intent, and only if they refuse do I think that the chief should sign.
Well, if they say yes, he should sign too, right, Steve?
Well, yeah, that's right. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
I agree.
So I think the direction, if I'm summarizing the discussion, is we want the chief to ask for up to 120 days if we can get it, but we want him to sign. Is that correct?
I agree.
So
I agree.
moved.
I agree. Just note, it seems weird that we're discussing negotiations in public.
Well, we're not discussing, we're not negotiating the price. This is just a timing thing. And we're relating it to town meeting, which is when the authorization would come anyway. I don't disagree with you, Ken, but again, crazy times.
Yeah, I absolutely. If there was a motion, I'll second it.
I think Jeff made the motion, right?
Yes.
And Ken seconded. So roll call, Sabrina, yes. Ken,
Yes.
Stephen,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Anna.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, I will see what I can do, and I will report back to the board.
Thanks, chief.
Thank you.
Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Appreciate your time. Everybody stay safe.
You
Same.
too. Thank you.
Thanks.
So before we do public forum, Ken, I think we were discussing your idea under new business. So was there anything else finished on that conversation?
I think, you know, based on what we just heard, there's another $40,000 that potentially we could reduce the amount we're requesting from taxes. No harm to anything else. So, and it's those kind of things that, you know, we're looking to follow.
Okay.
So if we were going to do this, like, how would we, Ken, are you proposing or suggesting that, I don't know, how do we start this, I guess is what I'm asking.
Whether Neil and I should discuss it and try to figure out what we view as the least painful cuts to the proposed budget, and, you know, come back with the start of something. I don't know, I haven't, I don't know where Neil's thoughts on this.
He went through the budget for 4 months. He's happy to do it again.
I do not want to go through it in that kind of depth. Believe me.
We certainly have more information now, seeing we're a quarter of the way through the year.
Yeah.
So there could be, we could look at that. I'm not sure. I think without cutting services and in different areas, there are not significant places to cut. That hasn't really changed.
Yeah, each $50,000 we can cut is basically 1% off of the 7.87% increase. So, if we can knock off 100,000, that's 2%. I originally was thinking, well, can we go to 0? But I think that's really not reasonable. So if it's the will of the board and Neil, I'll talk to Neil, tomorrow, and we can start trying to figure out what, if anything, we can do.
I'm not sure we need to start tomorrow. If we're looking at a May town meeting, even or not, that's at the soonest. So we can set up a time down the road, and I'll begin doing some looking. So.
Okay, no, that's fine. No problem.
Okay, so should we attempt public forum here?
I think that's a great idea.
Okay, I believe everyone is unmuted, so.
Really?
Norm looks muted to me.
Except for Norm.
Now he's good.
Totally unintentional.
Nor muted again.
Is he still here?
Well, maybe.
Maybe he's muting himself.
Not muted. He looks-
No, I'm here. Can you hear
Oh,
me?
he's gone. Oh.
Now everybody's unmuted.
Okay.
All right.
So the floor is open for public forum.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Who's
Hi. Hi. It's Norm Goupel. I'm here still. I want to say thank you to closing the over the high school the bike ramp place, skate park actually. Thank you for closing that. The last couple of times I've run by there's been a lot of people there, and it isn't good for our community. So I just want to say thank you to the select board for closing that, and also for posting signs behind the library. I went behind there today for a trail run, and I could see the signs that were clearly posted there, recommending people not to be in that area. So I just want to say thank you guys for implementing that, and carry on. This is a neat feature. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
you.
Norm.
Uh-oh, there's a cough.
Allergies.
Yeah. All right. This is Bob Lepre. I escaped from the horror of Florida just last week, so I'm glad to be able to see you guys on
Oh.
the meeting, even though we can't do it in person. Yeah, thanks on the skate park, because I sent Neil a picture of like 15 kids all congregating. It's bad. So, but I'm glad you're able to communicate together like this, and also with us with this. So this is a nice feature. So carry on and cough into your elbow.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Yeah.
Anybody else for public forum? All right. So, I think that's it for public forum. Do we have anything for other? And we have nothing for non-public, right, Neil?
Yeah, I don't have anything.
Okay. All right. So are we ready to adjourn?
So moved.
Second,
I'll second that. Okay. All right, roll call. Sabrina, yes. Ken,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Stephen.
yes.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Brittany.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Have a good night. Thanks, Neil. Thanks, Robin.
Okay, thanks. Good night.
Yeah.
Next week.
Bye.
Bye. Nice.